The last warning. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. In the deep black of space, silence often meant peace. But this time, it meant something else. It meant death. Across the galaxy, entire systems had gone dark. Planets that once glowed with life now floated cold and empty. Massive space stations, once full of trade, laughter, and light, were now just drifting shells. No wreckage, no distress signals, just nothing. The last warning came from a small exploration ship called the Whisper Flame, sent from the Andari Republic. Their message was short. Unknown force approaching, non-communicative, consumes all, not war, not invasion, just erasure. We are leaving the sector. We suggest you run. Then silence. Forever. On Earth, the message arrived 3.4 seconds later, decoded by AI systems in the Global Defense Corps. Commander Eshan Virell, head of Earth's Outer Defense Watch, stared at the blinking red message on his screen. He whispered the last word of the transmission. Run. But there was nowhere left to run. Earth had only recently earned its seat at the Interstellar Council. For centuries, humanity had watched from the edge, struggling to be noticed. Now, every major power had fled. Only Earth remained. Not because it was strong, but because it had nowhere else to go. The Council's last gathering was supposed to be held on Tarsus 6, a neutral planet. But when Earth's diplomats arrived, they found only dust and floating robes. The galaxy had already decided. Let Earth fall. Save the core. Back home, people gathered in city streets. Giant screens lit up with emergency broadcasts. The void is real, the headlines read. It is coming. Some people prayed, others panicked. Most just watched the sky. But Earth didn't break. Something strange happened instead. It stood still, not in fear, in decision. Global leaders connected through the Planetary Emergency Council. No politics, no speeches, just a vote. Do we hide? Or do we fight? The answer was clear. Even if no one came to help, even if Earth stood alone, it would stand. The next day, Project Horizon Wall was activated. It was an idea once considered too dangerous, too costly, too extreme. A planetary defense shield, powered not by space stations but by the very core of Earth. It could protect the planet from an energy wave strong enough to burn moons. But there was a cost. To power the shield, Earth would have to drain itself. Oceans, magma vents, even tectonic energy. Every ship, every satellite, every piece of old tech, everything. Commander Virell stood before the world's population and said one line. We are not defending Earth. We are defending what it means to be human. The countdown began. Days to full charge. In that time they had to prepare, fortify, and wait. Earth sent one final message to the stars, not a call for help, not a signal of surrender, just a statement. We will not run, we will not hide, we are Earth, come if you must. In distant space something shifted. It was not a ship. It was not alive in any way known to science. A black wave moved across the stars, silent, shapeless, cold. It had no name, but across the void, one name echoed back. Humanity and Earth stood ready. Alone in the stars were still there, but the voices were gone. Thousands of alien systems, once bright with signals, trade, music, laughter, had gone dark. Earth's satellites scanned the skies day and night, searching for a single friendly frequency. They found nothing. Inside the Global Defense Corps, Commander Eshan Virell stood with his hands behind his back, watching the star map. Red dots blinked across the holographic screen. Dead systems. Green lights meant allies. There were no more green lights. Earth was alone, not just as a planet, but as a species. News spread across the globe. No answer from Mars. Europa Research Base, silent. Last contact with the Kalari race, lost. Won By one, the stars went quiet. Earth had always been one of the youngest civilizations in the galaxy. It had only been exploring deep space for 70 years. Compared to the great empires, it was a child. But now the giants had run, and the child stood in the storm. In New Geneva, the Planetary Council held a private emergency session. Leaders sat in silence, watching the reports come in. President Lena Morayo broke the quiet. We are not the strongest, we are not the wisest, but we are still here, and that means something. There were no cheers, no applause, only nods. And action. Across Earth, humanity prepared like never before. Factories stopped building cars. They built drones instead. Old cities were emptied. New bunkers were dug. Everything was now part of Project Horizon Wall, the global shield system powered by Earth's core. Turbines spun. Tectonic drills buzzed. The planet itself became a weapon, and yet Earth did not become a war zone. Instead, it became something unexpected, a place of unity. Old nations dropped their flags. Corporations gave up their profits. Scientists and soldiers worked side by side. People volunteered by the millions. Not to fight, but to help. To build. To defend. To stand. In the orbital ring above Earth, once a luxury resort for the rich, now turned military command station, young soldiers from over 70 countries trained together. Captain Aria Stone, once a cargo pilot, now led Earth's first deep space combat wing, the Black Edge. Their mission was clear: intercept, observe, delay. They didn't expect to survive, but they were ready. One night, as Earth rotated slowly beneath the stars, a strange signal came through. It was not a cry for help. It was not a threat. It was a single file, repeating over and over again. A video. It showed a planet. Alien. Beautiful. Then, erased by a black wave. In the last frame, 3 words appeared: "You are next." The file was signed. By no one. In response, Earth broadcast its own message to the stars. No encryption, no password, just truth. We know you're watching. We know you erase, but know this: Earth will not fall without fire, and if we burn, we will blind you. The next day, Earth's long-range telescopes picked it up. The dark wave, still distant, but visible now. Moving, spreading, coming, the void. Commander Virell walked alone through the silent halls of Unity Base. The lights hummed softly. Above him, a massive screen showed Earth glowing under its newly activated energy shield. He stopped, took a breath. "So be it," he whispered. "Let the galaxy remember. Earth didn't run." And so, the planet waited. One world, one shield, one chance. The enemy arrives. For 12 days, Earth held its breath. The dark wave in the stars grew closer, each hour pulling light from the galaxy. One by one, the outer satellites of Earth's defense net went dark. Not destroyed, not hacked, just gone. No impact. No explosion. Only silence. At the Global Defense Corps, Commander Eshan Virell stood in the war room with his senior officers. A live feed showed space beyond Neptune's orbit. The feed shook with static, then cleared, and there it was. Not a fleet, not a monster, just darkness, a wall of black energy, silent and smooth, cutting across the stars like spilled ink. It had no engines, it had no heat, but it was moving. Fast. Back. On Earth, sirens echoed through cities. The global AI issued one message across every speaker, every screen. Contact imminent. Void presence detected. Phase 1, planetary lockdown initiated. Skies turned red as the upper atmosphere bent around. The incoming force, Earth's shield, Project Horizon Wall, hummed with growing power, drawing energy straight from the planet's core. At the orbital command station, Captain Aria Stone sat in her cockpit, leading the Black Edge fleet into high orbit. She stared at the void with cold, steady eyes. "We don't need to win," she told her crew. We just need to last. Her ship, Ironclad 6, flew first, 12 others followed. Together they launched straight toward the dark wave. Then, the first contact, a tendril of black light, thin almost like smoke, reached forward from the wall. One of Earth's outer satellites touched it. It crumbled to dust in seconds. Not melted, not torn apart. Just erased. Data gone. Metal gone. Time gone. Stone saw it happen. She gritted her teeth and sent her fleet into evasive patterns. Scatter and disrupt, she barked. The ships split, their engines roaring as they formed an attack grid. They launched plasma rounds, magnetic torpedoes, EMPs, every weapon known to humanity. And it worked. For a moment, one blast from Earth's rail cannon managed to cut a line through the darkness. The void flinched. Stone smiled. You can bleed. But then the void reacted. The blackness folded in on itself, turning into sharp, spear-like tendrils. It struck. 2 ships gone in a blink. No alarms. Just silence. Stone screamed into the comms, "Keep moving, stay unpredictable." But the void didn't chase. It watched. It learned. Down on Earth, the horizon wall flared bright blue. Its energy grid surged to 94%, then 97%. Commander Virell gave the final command. Full charge, lock orbit, engage. The shield spread out like a glowing bubble around Earth, reaching into space, forming a massive dome of energy. The moment it touched the void, the black wave stopped. The 2 forces met, planet against the unknown. The ground trembled, oceans pulled back, mountains groaned, but the shield held. Inside the Unity core, data flooded the command screens. The void wasn't trying to destroy Earth. It was testing it, pushing, pressing, probing. Virell turned to his science officer. What is it doing? The reply chilled the room. It's reading us, not scanning, learning. In the sky, the black wave shrank into thousands of small points, shapes, ships, or maybe life forms. Each one spun with impossible patterns. They surrounded Earth like a cage. Then one spoke, not with words, but with signal, into every human mind. You are a stain. All things must return to quiet. Stand down. Accept your end. The message hit like thunder in every head. People cried out, some collapsed, others screamed, but humanity did not kneel. Captain Stone, shaking, forced herself to speak back. We hear you, and we say no. And then, Earth fired. All cannons, all orbitals, everything. The horizon wall glowed white-hot, and the battle truly began. The stand at Saturn Earth's skies burned with light. The horizon wall, humanity's planetary shield, shimmered like a living sun. Void tendrils crashed against it, wrapping around the planet like black vines, but they couldn't break through. Not yet. In orbit, Captain Aria Stone stared at the chaos outside her cockpit. Half of her fleet was gone. Ironclad 6 was running, low on ammo. Her oxygen had dropped to 78%, and the enemy wasn't even trying hard. We're bleeding just to slow it down, she muttered. We need a real plan, fast. That plan was already in motion. Back on Earth, inside the Global Defense Corps, Commander Eshan Virell looked at the star map. A single red dot blinked near Saturn. A deep space research lab, once abandoned, was now reactivated. It held something called the pulse engine, a forbidden weapon from early void contact theory. The project had been shut down after test drones disappeared without trace. But now, it was their last card. Launch Operation Last Ember, Virell ordered. Hit them where they don't expect us to strike. Within hours, the Vanguard Division, led by Lieutenant Ren Tavari, launched from the Moon Citadel and warped toward Saturn's orbit. Their goal: awaken the pulse engine and fire it directly into the core of the void mass. Risk: total ship loss. Survival chance 8%, but they didn't hesitate. As the Vanguard ships approached Saturn's shadow, something strange happened. The void followed. Not all of it, just one piece. a large fragment, like a scout, or a hunter. It broke away from the main force around Earth and headed straight for the Vanguard fleet. In deep space, far from Earth's light, the void looked different. It pulsed, it glowed, it whispered. Inside the lead ship, Valiant Ember, Lieutenant. Tavari felt it before he saw it, a voice cold, ancient, echoing across his helmet's comlink. You open old wounds, you dig where light dies. The crew trembled, but Tavari stood. We dig for truth, and for survival. He activated the pulse engine. Back on Earth, all systems went silent. Satellites blacked out. Communications stopped. Wave of distortion blanketed the solar system like a deep breath being held. Then, a beam of pure energy exploded from Saturn's rings. Not fire, not plasma, memory. The pulse engine didn't fire a weapon. It fired a moment, a flash of every world the void had destroyed. Every voice, every scream, every light it had swallowed. It wasn't an attack, it was a mirror. The void shook, not physically, but mentally. Its form pulsed. Its tendrils twitched. Its mass began to splinter. Something inside it had broken. It remembered, and it feared. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the void retreated. The fragment at Saturn fled back into deep space. The black clouds above Earth stopped their assault, and the horizon wall cooled. But victory never comes without cost. The Vanguard fleet was gone. Every ship, every life, lost in the flash. But they had saved Earth. Commander Virell stood before the United Earth Network. His voice was low but clear. Let this be known. We didn't just fight them, we made them feel, we made them remember. And now we prepare for their return. Aria Stone, bruised and breathing hard, floated in her damaged escape pod above Earth. She looked down at the blue planet, scarred, scorched, still spinning. We held the line, she whispered. But the war's not over. In the deep, cold edge of space, the void circled slowly. One tendril reached toward a distant star, and from its core, a single phrase pulsed out across the galaxy. They dare to defy. We return soon. Project Final Light. The stars had gone quiet again. The void had retreated but not fled. In every observatory, behind every war table, humanity understood one thing clearly. This was only a pause, not peace. In the deep tunnels beneath Mount Khazra, hidden for decades, a forgotten facility came online. Its name, Facility 017, its purpose, Project Final Light. Inside the command room, Commander Eshan Virell stood with his top scientists, engineers, and military leaders. In the center of the table was a single holographic file, locked under 10 layers of clearance. Final Light was never meant to be used. It was a last resort, AI toy, plan so dangerous, so absolute, that even its designers called it the death switch. Dr. Alara Quinn, chief energy physicist, spoke first. The pulse engine gave us a glimpse. The void can be shaken but not stopped, unless we strike its root. And the root, she added, her voice heavy, is older than this galaxy. It must be unmade. Everyone knew what that meant. The only energy source powerful enough to reach and shatter the root, Earth's core. Not its satellites, not its weapons. The planet itself. Silence filled the room. Virell finally asked the question everyone feared. What happens to Earth? Alara didn't blink. It ends. No planet, no home. Just one final pulse, and the enemy dies with it. News of the plan leaked within hours. Across Earth, panic turned into chaos. Cities protested. Leaders begged for another option. Some demanded surrender, but others, millions, stood in the streets with signs, held high, "We are the wall. If Earth falls, let it fall fighting. Better ashes than chains." In the orbital command station, Captain Aria Stone, now recovered, received her final mission. She was to lead the Ark convoy, a last attempt to evacuate select civilians and scientists off-world. They had 1 week. After that, the countdown would begin, In her private quarters, she recorded a message. To no one. And to everyone. You always think there's a chance. A secret weapon. A twist. But this is real. This is final. We're not fighting to live. We're fighting to matter. At Unity Base, Commander Virell stood before the world once more. He looked tired, older, but his voice was strong. We asked the stars for help. None came. So now we answer with fire. Earth will be the blade. Let the galaxy remember. When the dark came, we didn't run, we burned. The horizon wall shifted. New structures appeared, massive energy spires pulled from the oceans, deserts, and even the poles. They rose into the sky, pulsing with light, humming with a quiet, growing power. The countdown had begun. Final light. T-6 days, but then something unexpected happened. One by one, ships began arriving from deep space, from hiding, from silence. The survivors of the galaxy, torn ships, broken fleets, shattered empires, Calari, Thessin, Yoran, even the silent Trinari. They had heard Earth's message, they had seen the stand, and now they came not to flee, but to fight. The skies above Earth filled with new ships. Old enemies became allies. Former rivals shared shields and tech. We followed your light, said one alien transmission. We will not let you die alone. Inside Facility 017, Dr. Alara watched the energy readings. The pulse was ready. The system was locked. Now the decision rested with one person, Commander Virell. He stood alone in the control chamber, staring at the key that would end the world. The void had returned to the edge of the system, waiting, watching, but this time, Earth wasn't alone. Virell reached for the key, paused, and said, "Give them one last chance. One last stand. If we fall together, but if we rise, let Earth live." He postponed the countdown for 7 days. 7 days to gather, 7 days to fight, 7 days to stop the end. The stars waited. So did the void. The day Earth stood alone, the sky was full. Above Earth, thousands of ships, human and alien, formed a sphere of steel, fire, and courage. Each came from a broken world. Each carried a different flag, and every single one had come for one reason: to stand. The void had returned. It didn't roar. It didn't speak. It just came. Faster, bigger, smarter. The tendrils that had once drifted like smoke now moved like blades. Whole starships vanished in seconds. Light itself seemed to bend around its mass. From Mercury's orbit to Mars, it swept everything aside, and Earth was next. In the war room of Unity Base, Commander Eshan Virell stared at the holographic map. Red dots exploded across the screen. Lost. Ships. Dead signals. Fading life. But the line around Earth still held. Just barely. "Report," he said. The AI responded coldly. "Shield integrity at 43%. Void mass density increasing. Incoming in 5 minutes." Virell glanced at the final light key, still locked, glowing orange. He didn't touch it. Not yet. On the front line, in her new battlecruiser Sky Reaper, Captain Aria Stone stood beside the Trinari General Azor-Il and Kalari pilot, Lusa Fen. 3 species. 3 survivors. One last command. Hold the sky. The battle began like thunder. The void launched spear-like constructs, pure black energy cutting across space. Ships were torn apart like paper. Shields shattered. Pilots screamed. But they fought back. Earth's rail cannons fired beams brighter than the sun. The Calari deployed distortion fields, bending time to slow enemy advances. The Trinari unleashed sonic disruptors that cracked the void's tendrils like glass. But still, it came. Then the void spoke. Not in sound, not in code, but inside the minds of every soldier, every captain, every child on Earth. You fight against purpose. You cannot stop the quiet. You are alone. But the response came not from leaders or weapons. It came from the people. On every street, on every screen, they shouted one word. No. Inside Unity Base, Virell gave the order. Activate Earth Pulse Grid. Last phase. A ring of energy spun around the planet like a second atmosphere. It connected to every station, every ship, every defense satellite. If they want to erase us, Virell said, they'll have to burn with us. The sky turned white. For a moment all was light, then came the storm. The void dropped its cloak. Its true form, a massive shifting mass of geometry and shadow, filled the sky. It wasn't one being. It was billions, all one mind, all one hunger. And it attacked. Ships exploded, cities shook, mountains cracked, but the shield still held. Then a scream cut through the comms. "This is Sky Reaper, we're hit. Static, Captain." Stone was gone, or so they thought. A second later, a small ship broke through the black cloud. It was Stone. Her engines burned with unstable fusion, aimed directly at the void's core. "Tell Earth," she said calmly, "we're not dying quiet." She hit the core. There was no sound, no light, just breakage. The void fractured, screamed. It wasn't just attacked, it was hurt. Badly. Commander Virell saw it on the screen, and he knew. This is our only chance. He unlocked final light. A countdown appeared. 3, 2.59. The core of Earth began to pulse, but before the timer reached 0, the void stopped, and then it fled. Pieces of it scattered into space, wounded. It had lost something it never expected. Fear. Virell paused the countdown. The key glowed white. Waiting. Earth still lived. But at a cost. Half the Allied fleet was gone, Aria. Stone's ship was never found. Tens of millions lost. Cities were ash. Oceans boiled in places. But Earth stood, alone and victorious. Later that night, the stars returned, clear, bright. Above the ruins of New Geneva, a child looked up and asked, "Will they come back?" And her mother, wrapped in a worn military jacket, said, "If they do, we'll be waiting." The skies above Earth were calm again. No more fire, no more darkness, just stars. But the cost of survival hung heavy in the air. Half the planet's cities were gone. Space was littered with broken ships, human and alien alike. The oceans still boiled near the equator, and the shield that once glowed around Earth had faded to nothing. Yet humanity was still alive. Earth had stood, and the galaxy had witnessed it. Inside the Unity Memorial Dome, what remained of the old global defense core, Commander Eshan Virell stood at a podium before thousands. Beside him were leaders from more than 30 alien species. Some had never spoken to humans before the war. Now, they wore Earth's colors. A giant screen above displayed faces, those lost in the stand: Captain Aria Stone, Dr. Alara Quinn, the Vanguard Division, the Sky Reaper's final crew, and billions of civilians who had chosen to stay and fight instead of flee. They had not died in silence. They had bought the galaxy time. Virell raised his voice. Simple, strong. This was never just a human fight. It was survival, for all of us. We gave everything we had, not to destroy the enemy, but to show that even the smallest world can hold the line. Then came the message, broadcast from Earth to every known system, translated into every language. We were the shield. Now we are the spark. A united galaxy begins here. Ships began to arrive, not in fear, but in purpose. The Trinari brought crystal-based tech to repair Earth's atmosphere. The Kalari built space elevators from the ashes of orbital wreckage. The Thessan offered memory cores to preserve Earth's culture, art, and sacrifice. No longer divided, no longer hiding. A new alliance was born. The Guardian Accord, not ruled by power, but by sacrifice, and Earth, once forgotten, once considered weak, became its heart. In deep space, far beyond the reach of any known star, a single fragment of the void drifted. It pulsed weakly, not defeated, not dead, but changed. And from the edge of that darkness, a whisper passed through space. They stood, and we broke. Back on Earth, in the hills near where the horizon wall once pulsed, a small girl planted a tree. It grew faster than normal, stronger, brighter. Around it, others gathered, children of every race, humans, aliens, hybrids. They sat beneath the tree and listened to stories of the past, of a world that stood when the galaxy fell, of the day Earth stood alone, and of the spark that came after. The end,